Hello and welcome to another episode of Levy's Customs. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to clone your hard drive to another one. Let's say you're upgrading in size or you're upgrading in terms of technology, like moving from a mechanical hard drive to a solid state hard drive. For an example, I'm going to be taking the 250 gigabyte hard drive out of this Dell Optiplex 380 from 2009 with this 256 gigabyte solid state drive. The program that I'm going to be using to do the cloning is called Macrium Reflect. They have a free version, which I will be showing today, and then they have paid versions for business environments, or more features for the home version, server versions, all that kind of stuff. Now, how I connect to devices depends on what size and everything. Like for a 2.5 inch, like a laptop hard drive or a solid state drive, they're usually in the 2.5 inch form factor, which a simple tool like this from StarTech, it's a USB 2.0 to SATA on this end, so it has both data and power connectors, and so you just pop it right in. In fact, let's open this here real quick. So how you'll do this is you will plug it in like this, and then with this side you plug it in here, and it should pop up like an external hard drive. Now, those are good only if you have the smaller drives. If you have a large, like desktop hard drive, then you're going to need something that supplies external power as well, instead of like the other connector, it draws the power from the USB port. You will probably need a hard drive dock for the bigger drives like this one. You can also there's like a slot for the 2.5 inch drives as well. This particular model is kind of nice. You can pull it out and stick another drive, so you can have two drives going. Sometimes these docks will have a clone button on them, which in theory should eliminate the need for any type of software connecting. You just put one, your source drive and then your destination drive, you hit a button, wait for it to do its thing, and all of a sudden now you have all your stuff has been cloned over to the second drive, which is pretty convenient. So here's Macrium Reflect. I have my source drive, or the drive I'm wanting to replace right here, this Western Digital, and then this is the ADATA SSD that we're moving stuff to. This is just the interface, so it's not going to tell you like the brand or anything, kind of like it does up here. Like I said, this is free for both home and commercial use, which is very nice. I use this at my job. I will not be going over how to image, but pretty much what imaging is it's making a copy, kind of like cloning, but it puts it into a file, and so you can back it up to like an external hard drive or something. You can do some cool stuff with that, but for this video we're going to be just talking about cloning, and that's transferring pretty much making an identical copy of all the contents on this drive right here, including all the partitions, and then making an exact copy and putting it on this the second drive, either to upgrade or replace, whatever. So you want to go ahead, click on clone this disk, make sure that this is checked, this is selected. Then you're going to select a destination drive, which is going to be this one right here. And then we go ahead, copy selected partitions, as shows which ones are selected by the check marks. Now, thankfully this drive is slightly bigger, but sometimes like if you're moving from a smaller or a larger drive to a smaller drive, you'll have to usually there's multiple partitions for Windows and stuff, but this one right here, the C, is usually going to be where all your data and stuff is in your operating system. So what we can do as just an example, let's just say that this is too big or whatever, we will have to only copy over these. Oh, here we go, properties. And you can actually shrink or enlarge a particular partition to make it so that it will fit. You will just have to keep in mind that this last one right here will have to be transferred over eventually. So this partition is 843 megabytes. You'll have to make sure there's at least that much left here. But since we don't have that issue, we actually are going from a smaller drive to a larger drive. So what we can do is actually make this partition larger to have more, to maximize that space. So we'll still need to leave this amount left. I usually go over a little bit just to make sure. So free space, I'm going to change this to megabytes, and we're going to say, well, how was that again? 843. So I'm going to do like 845 megabytes. So then we can just drag this down, and voila, that's perfect. One thing you will want to do before we move on to the next screen here, you'll want to go to Advanced Options, and you'll want to make sure Verify File System is checked. It pretty much goes back and says, hey, did we copy everything correctly? Just as to verify that what you have on the new drive is what you have on the old one. You can go to Next and you can do schedules, but I don't see a use for this, so I would just go to Finish. You can have a file that pretty much just loads the backup when you open it up, but we're gonna do this. I actually don't know what this is for. Oh, this is for this part right here. So this is something we're not gonna worry about. So then we hit OK, and it's going to start its process. The duration of this cloning process is entirely dependent on how fast the source and destination drives are. It'll also depend a little bit on your computer's specifications. It uses some memory and CPU. It will also depend on how much data and like how big the drive is. Smaller drives, of course, should be very quick, whereas large drives will take a while. Now, while we wait for this process to happen, because it is going to take a little while, I wanted to talk about, kind of as a bonus, the benefits of upgrading to a solid-state drive. So the first thing to think of when you are entertaining the idea of upgrading to a solid-state drive is that they are more expensive per gigabyte than traditional mechanical hard drives. And for those of you who don't know the differences between the two, it's literally like a solid state drive, there's no moving parts in there. It's all flash memory, whereas a traditional mechanical hard drive has spinning platters and headers that read stuff. So there are a few benefits to a solid state drive. One being power consumption, since there's no moving parts, uses a lot less electricity. They're a lot faster. The big thing for me though is solid state drives' ability to really bring back to life older computers, kind of like this Optiplex here. This is from 2009, and kind of a story. My parents are Mac users. My dad's been using Mac since the 90s. They both have iMacs. I think they've upgraded at the time of recording. They've got new ones, but before, like even just 6 months ago, they both had iMacs from 2009 with Intel Core 2 Duos. And so my dad realized, hey, solid state hard drives are supposed to, speed up your computer. And yes and no. Every part of your computer is a factor for speed, but in terms of hard drives and their speed, one of the biggest things you'll notice when you upgrade is boot time. And at the end of this video, I'll throw in the before and after. I'll turn on this computer with the hard drive and let you see how slow it is, and then I will install the solid state that I've cloned all the information to, and then we'll start it up on that, and you'll see just how quick it is. You may be going from a minute startup time, like hitting the button and getting to the desktop, compared to a solid state drive, which, sometimes I've seen it boot up as quick as your 10 seconds and you're already on the desktop. And the another thing too is, especially on older devices, sometimes you'll start your computer, it'll get to the desktop, but the computer is still unusable for, you know, another 5, 10, 15 minutes just because it's still loading all your programs and stuff. With a solid state drive, usually you're done loading everything within a minute or so, which is very convenient. Alright, so now that our hard drive has been cloned over to our solid state drive, let's swap it out and make sure it works. Alright, and that's pretty much how you clone a drive if you're upgrading to a larger size drive or to a solid state drive. If you're doing an M.2, either SATA or NVMe drive, there are special adapters. I have a couple, I just don't have them on my in my hands right now. But they're usually just like a circuit board with a USB 3.0 connector on the end, and so you screw that drive down onto the PCB, plug it in, and it'll work exactly like these other adapters that I've shown. So anyways, hopefully you learned something. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Also let me know if you want to see any more features that Macrium Reflect has, either the imaging feature. There's some other features on there too. I think you're able to boot your image file to run as a virtual machine. I'll have to do some more research into that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.